I did not know much about the real estate and someone told me, you can buy a property with just 1% payment plan, I would be the first customer.
People who generate income of 20K to 35K, they are the entry point of this 1% payment plan.
But when they see a lot of people are coming to buy, they spike up the price.
People should be very clear that this 1% would entail an initial investment of around 24%.
Once I come to know and I read the amounts, I'm like, it's okay, I don't think I can afford it.
A 1% payment plan per month or an MR's payment plan where you have to make 3.5% or 4% balloon payment is not too separate from each other.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Brick Buzz. Today we're going to discuss the hot topic of the new year. Today we're going to discuss the 1% payment plan.
Wow, 1% payment plan.
Yeah.
That is gaining momentum, huh?
A lot.
It's really gaining momentum.
Today we're going to discuss about the upsides and downside. Like Danube came up with this strategy of the 1% payment plan, and now other developers are doing it.
Yeah, a lot of developers have joined that bandwagon of 1% payment plan.
So right now it's the talk of the town.
It is actually the talk of the town of why do we have that 1% payment plan? What are the modalities of it? Is it a good plan? Is it a not so good plan, I would say? And let's dissect it.
Yeah. So, Mr. Asam, today I want to know that why is everyone talking about the 1% payment plan? Why is everyone coming and asking, maybe I should invest in this? What are the upsides and what are the downsides of it?
So, what is your take on it?
I think it's actually really, really good.
It sounds very enticing, right?
It is
It sounds, 1% and I start my journey towards owning a property, right?
Like if I did not know much about the real estate and someone told me, you can buy a property with just 1% payment plan, I would be the first customer.
Yeah, because you say, okay, the property price, for example, is $1 million.
Yeah.
And 1% is hardly any amount as compared to that price point of 1 million.
Yeah.
And with just 1%, I'm going to start my journey towards owning a property, right?
Yeah, I can be like, I can easily pay for it. Like, it's not that difficult.
You can easily pay for it. That is actually the catchphrase, right? You or I, we can easily pay for it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a deep dive into it. So, Danube is one of the principal developers who are backing this plan, who came up with the plan, and Mr. Rizwan is known as the 1% man, and things are the Danube is selling very well, by the way, and that 1% payment plan is really working for them. In addition to just giving a property, they also are now furnishing that property. So that also adds a lot of mileage to what they're selling.
Yeah.
And the quality is good. Other developers are now also joining the bandwagon. DMAC has come up with that. They've joined the bandwagon. Other developers are also following suit. And a lot of mid-sized developers are coming up with this same plan. In order for you to understand this, let's take some time and analyze this. So, in my humble opinion, and that's what we have experienced and that what we have read.
Correct.
I'm sure you have also read this somewhere. If not, there is a 50-20-30 rule. A 50-20 or a 50-20-30% life plan is that 50% of your income should go towards fulfilling your necessities, which includes housing and other expenses as well. 20% should go to reduce the debt that you already have and towards your savings.
Okay.
And 30% goes towards the other livelihood expenses that you have to incur. And it can go towards not only necessities, but your shopping, your other excursions, your vacations, all that is covered by that 30%.
Okay.
So out of that 50%, 30% of your salary or the income that you generate should go towards housing, the current housing that you're living in. So I assume that anybody who comes for an investment is living somewhere.
Correct.
And definitely they're not homeless. They're living
Yeah.
somewhere, obviously. So that's why they have a surplus income. So
Yeah.
now they have 30% should go towards the current housing that they are occupying,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Now, imagine if you're in a bracket of your salary is 8 to 10K, then in Dubai, what we have observed that it's not only 30%, it's going to be from 42 to 58% that you're already spending on your current housing.
Correct. I don't think you'll have any money to spend
So,
anywhere else.
so we take them
Yeah.
out of that. The second is between if you have a income bracket of 15 to 25K. Now, for these people, they are spending around 40 to again 58% of their salary on the housing.
Correct.
So we have to take this denomination out that they can
Out of
actually
that
go for,
category as
because
well. Yeah.
if they were doing 30%, then 20% out of that 20%, but 30 plus 20, they are, if they say 58, that means around 60% of their income that is being generated is going towards housing.
Correct.
And then if they have small kids and the school fee and everything, that is taken care of. So they are not the potential audience. Now, between 20 to 35K, people who generate income of 20K to 35K, they are the entry point of this 1% payment plan.
There's a probability for that.
There's a probability because they are spending right now around 30 to 40% or 42% of their salary on
current housing.
on the current housing. So they have a slight margin of actually entering into the real estate market with this 1% payment plan. And then you have people who have 50K and above income. For them, it's between 30% to 43% that they are spending on the current housing. Because you have to understand, as your income is increased, your living standards and the quality of life that you have experienced, that also increases.
Correct.
So you are living in more refined areas, you'll drive a better car, you have more expenses to incur in that sense. But this is the average that we have in Dubai. That's not written in cement. Those statistics I've gathered over a period of time through different sources, but that's again debatable, and that's my take on it. So now, for a 1% payment plan, you have to make a down payment of 10 plus 10 plus 4. So let's take 1 million.
Correct.
So
Okay.
on 1 million, you have to pay 10% plus 10. So around 200K is gone immediately towards the payments. So the 1% doesn't start from the point go. You have to initially make a payment of 10%.
A down payment, basically.
A down payment,
Correct.
correct? And then another down payment of 10%. And then 4% is the DLD fee and that you
Yeah,
have
the
to pay
expense. Yeah.
within 30 days. So you're talking about 24%. And that 4% is on top of that 1 million price point that you have. So that's the sum that's deducted.
Correct.
Then you pay 1% till the project is completed, and then post completion you are also making a payment of 1% for another 2 years, post completion payment plan. Now that you get a breather once the property is completed, because then at that particular time you can either let go of the property that you're living in currently,
Okay.
and you save on that rent
And move into this.
and move into this place.
Correct.
Or you can put this property on rent, and then from the rental value that you're getting, you can actually augment towards the payment of your 1%.
Correct.
So you get a bit breather.
Correct.
Now, people should be very clear that this 1% would entail an initial investment of around 24%. You get 10%, then you get a breather of a couple of weeks, and then you have to make another 10%. But that 10 plus 10 plus 4 has to be put down.
But
And
I
in
think
some
a lot
cases,
of people are not able to pay that.
not able to. No, even if they are able to pay that,
They pay the starting, but then I think midway they'll be like, we can't pay that 1%. It's getting difficult for us.
yes, because you know why? Because they have to see this
The other
50,
expenses that come along.
20,
Correct.
30 rule.
Correct.
So you know that the last 30% is called discretionary spending. If you can save from that, then you can. So our job as real estate professionals is to also guide our clients. We have to be empathetic, and we have to guide our clients that, listen, this is your current income generation. This is the best course of action that you need to take, and you're making a commitment of the next 7 years or 5 years, 3 plus 2, 5 years or 6 years or whatever. So you have to curtail your expenses from these areas. If you're able to do that, then you should go for the payment plan. Or for example, if you have now money saved for around 300,000-400,000, and you say, okay, no problem, I'm going to start paying that, and then that runs out in the middle of your investment, and then you are not able to pay even that 1%, it compounds.
Yeah, and then you have to even pay a penalty for that.
Exactly. And that compounds.
Correct.
The other aspect is that people get super excited and super enticed by a 1% payment plan without going into those details, without sitting down and doing the numbers for their own finances with the real estate consultant.
Yes.
So you sit with a senior consultant, they would tell you, okay, this is the payment plan, this is the
breakdown.
This is
of
the
entire
breakdown.
payment.
For certain developers, there are balloon payments in between as well, like a 3% or 5% payment, 5% balloon payment at certain intervals. And are you able to generate that amount, or do you have that kitty saved? That's a very important point.
Can you explain the balloon payment to a lot of people? Because I feel like a lot of people don't understand. They think, other developers are asking for
Like
60-40.
Okay, 60-40, the funny part is, for example, let's take another developer like Dubai Properties or MR
Correct.
or other
They're
great
all
developers.
offering, yeah.
They're offering 60% and 40%. So 40%,
Yes.
1% payment plan, the initial part for both the projects, I think, whether it's a 60-40 payment plan or it's a 1% payment plan, the initial journey is the same. It's what happens at the end. For example, let me break it down. Again, the 1 million mark, we have hit the 1 million mark.
Yes.
1 million property, again, you have to pay 24%. Then so that means now 80% payment is remaining. 40% you have to pay at completion.
Correct.
So during construction, you're left with how much?
During construction.
Yeah.
40.
40. Seriously, buddy. You're
No.
left with, you're left with 40%. You're right. So in the middle, they have 40% now remaining. 40% over a period of 3 years means 20% per year.
Okay.
20% per year means every 6 months, 10%. Every quarter is 5%. Now, in 1% payment plan, you're paying 1% every month. Consider a quarter.
Correct.
You're paying 3%.
Yeah.
In this, every quarter you're paying 5%. So it's just a difference of 2%. 2% divided by 3 months is in 0.66 per. So it's not a huge.
It's not a vast difference basically in the amount.
It is a difference.
It is,
It is
but
a
not
considerable
vast.
difference if you're considering this salary bracket of 15 to 25K, but for 35K income generation bracket and above, it may not pinch that much.
Okay.
So you have to be really critical. That's why people who are generating 35K and above and 50K and above would rather go for an MR payment plan, because they understand that this difference of zero point 0.6 per month is not pinching them that hard. So, like, you are basically distributing and you're deciding between a 3% per quarter or a 5% per quarter. The difference comes at the handover, because at the handover in 60/40 payment plan, you have to pay the 40%.
Okay.
Whereas in this case, you continue with that 1% payment plan
You have a
post completion.
handover.
So that is basically the difference between a 1% payment plan and a 60/40 payment plan. And then based on your income generating capacity, I would suggest you do your own homework. You should see and sit with a professional, and that professional will tell you, okay, 50% is going there, 20% is going there, and this 30%, and this 30% is for your disposable income, and that goes towards your discretionary spending.
Okay.
Now, if you can reduce or if you can curtail your discretionary spending, then you can say, okay, perfectly fine. I can pull in some money from there and have this property on my name.
Okay. But who do you think is mostly the target audience for this 1% payment plan? Like, are they the people who are living here in Dubai or working
They're
in
end
Dubai?
users. 1% payment plan is most suitable for end users.
Okay.
And I would suggest the first time buyers, because the first time buyers have to navigate through the journey of generating
It's
that
easier
extra.
on them,
It's
basically.
easier on them. It's
For the
easier on
payment,
them.
Yeah.
But somebody, I am an ardent believer of this fact that somebody actually needs to sit with them, explain this to them, ask them about this is the amount they have to generate every month to put in here. Can they do that? Help them.
Okay.
You see, the actual task of a real estate consultant is to not just
Sell the property,
sell the
basically.
property or shove property down
their
people's throat.
Yeah.
They have to be empathetic,
Yeah.
and they have to be looking after the interest of their clients.
Correct. They basically have to be very
They
transparent
have
with
to be
them.
transparent, and they have to be, they are here for the purpose that they have to guide.
Correct.
They have to guide their investors. They have to guide the end user who has just started his life, and then I've seen a lot of couples with 1 or 2 small kids that go to school, and they want to enter into this realm of property ownership. So you have to guide them. Don't just sell a property. Okay, this is a nice property. Explain the payment plan. Explain at what balloon payments are supposed to be made, at what time they are to be made. If that can be broken down into smaller chunks. So what works for your specific family need?
Correct.
For example, what about the holidays they are going to planning to take this year? What about the kids? What are the balloon payments for the kids' education?
Correct.
If they're planning to buy a car, what type of liabilities do they have right now? Because I said 20% of the income that you generate should go towards the debt clearance of the existing liabilities. And then, so do you have that amount? For example, if 1 million, 1% is 10K. So 10K every month you have to generate and put into that property ownership basket.
Correct.
Do you have that 10K?
No. So I have a question to ask you. Like, I've been thinking a lot about this 1% payment plan, and it's coming across to me that, they portray that the 1% payment plan is very affordable for everybody. Like, it's put out in the market for everybody out there. But at the same time, they're also trying to portray that the property is like luxury. So is it like what?
So you're confused.
Yeah, I'm confused because they're trying to even say that it's affordable for everyone, but at the same time they're also saying it's a luxury property. So is it like affordable luxury? Is that like a thing in the market right now?
Well, affordable, you can put any name to it. I
Okay.
don't think anything exists as affordable luxury. If you can't buy it twice, you can't afford it. Okay? Now, this is definitely target 1% payment plan is targeted towards the entry level. When you want to enter into the property market, I said we've discussed that the 35 to 40 or 25 to 35, 40,000 income generating bracket, that they are the ones who can actually go for it because their existing housing is going between 30 to 40%.
Correct.
Now, I told you the ideal amount is spent on your current housing should be 30%. Now, if somebody is living in a place that the rents they have to pay right now are going to be around 30 to 32%, so that means they still have that 20% leverage to actually go ahead and invest in a property. So if that amount plus the 20% or 10% that they can come up with from the other sources, right, the discretionary spending, then they can pool enough money, and if they have certain amount of money put on side, that they can invest as the down payment of that 24%. So it's targeted towards them.
Correct. But like if you practically
As far as the affordable luxury is concerned, that I would say is a debatable term. So, I mean, so it's basically targeted towards that segment,
okay.
right? For people who are now doing good in their career, they are married. You don't have to be married to just own a property, but you can be a single person and own a property. But basically, then you think about putting down your roots, and then that's the point. Then you say, okay, now I'm going to put down my roots, and that's what I'm planning to do over here. And I'll start with 1 million dirham property, which is going to be around 1 bedroom, right? Studio starts from around 700K, goes to around 850K. A 1 bedroom starts from it's not like it's not a stencil.
It's not fixed. Basically,
it's not fixed. It's like I'm giving you a
estimate.
ballpark estimate from 850,
Correct.
900 to 1100 to 1.1 million, and then 1.3 million to 1.5 million. You get a very nice 2-bedroom apartment. I'm not talking about the high-end projects. Now, affordable luxury.
Actually speak about it, people who earn salary that's 30,000 and above are the target audience for the 1% payment plan.
Yes, because you see, 1% payment plan is basically targeted towards people who want to actually put down their roots. And there are a lot of developers that are doing a very good job in actually helping people in doing that.
They're basically simplifying it for them.
They're simplifying it for them.
Correct.
And they're helping. I mean, Danoop, I would again say, because they are even furnishing those apartments.
Okay.
So that goes a long way. I mean, furnishing, and the furnishing is quite decent. There's this very nice furnishing that they are offering.
And do you find like any downsides in this 1% payment plan?
Yes. The two downsides are people can be over enthusiastic and they would say, okay, I'm going to jump this bandwagon of 1% without actually going through the detail of the payment plan that they have to and the obligations that they have to fulfill at 1 quarter or second if there's a balloon payment. So they at times skip that.
They're like, मुझे लेना ही लेना है.
Exactly.
कुछ भी हो तो लेना ही है.
If you're hell bent on that, then you can go for it. The second is the price point.
Okay.
There are certain developers that up the price point a bit because they are offering 1% payment plan. So as a client, your attention is more directed towards the payment plan and the flexibility it offers rather than the total price of the property. Okay. And at times you see that the property price is a bit overvalued.
Okay.
It's overvalued, and people, rather than concentrating on it, are concentrated on the payment plan. So you divert their attention towards the payment plan, and then they're more happy. Okay, I know it's a bit expensive, but I'm getting a better payment plan.
Yeah, they would be like, it's just 1%, so I can manage.
Yeah.
हो जाएगा.
Okay, in that case, Why not the 60-40? At the end, 40%, if you have the capacity to pay that 40% balloon payment, or if you can get a mortgage, perfectly fine. But if you're not in a condition of getting the mortgage and you cannot pay that 40%,
Yeah.
then you're only left with this option of a 1% payment plan.
Correct.
I'm not saying all developers do that, but there are certain developers that add a couple of hundred thousands on that property, so that property becomes over the market estimate for that make and type of property, and then people just out of enthusiasm buy that. So
Correct.
those are
Like
two
now, if you
downsides.
see like this, when the project is newly launched into the market, the price is like something like maybe you can say 1 million. But when they see like a lot of people are coming and a lot of audience is coming to buy, they spike up the price
I don't
eventually.
think I okay. There are two aspects to it.
Okay.
Every time it's not that the, for example, I'll give you an example of a 1 bedroom apartment. Okay, the starting price is 900,000, and when you go after 2 months, you're getting a price point of 1.1 million. You say, oh, the price has increased. Certain times the price has actually increased. Most of the times it corresponds to the square footage.
Okay.
So 990, for example, thousand or less than a million is for a smaller size apartment. A 1 bedroom apartment, for example, 650 square feet. It starts from there and it goes up to 1100 square feet. So if you're getting a price point, you have to tone it down to the cost per square feet.
Correct.
So for smaller properties, and
That
you
is
start.
justified. That's
So you cannot say, okay, one
Yeah, yeah.
bedroom was starting from 900 and now the price has risen.
Correct.
Actually, these smaller ticket items have already been sold.
Correct.
So what the developer is now left with is something which is a bigger apartment. It has a bigger balcony. It has a bigger foyer. I don't know, but because of that, the price point has increased, and now you're left with that option of buying that at that time. Or if you were planning to that, again, go back to my point that you consult with your real estate consultant that this is the amount I have, this is the money I have with me right now, this is my capacity. Find me a suitable project. The best time to buy an off plan is pre-launch.
Okay.
Hands down, the best time to buy. Sit with your consultant, chalk out your financials, come up with a plan, see what's coming up in the market, and before it is launched, grab a nice unit. That's the best plan that you can have. Hands down.
Any other downside?
No, I think these two are the primary downsides. Otherwise, a 1% payment plan is good.
Do you think that even with the 1% payment plan, they would have any delay in the project, like finishing the project, like?
Well, with the if you understand the concept of escrow, I don't think a 1% payment plan would entail that the project gets delayed.
Okay.
That's my opinion. I mean, it's not that they are taking money from the people and that money is directly being poured into that project. They have to come up. There's a whole methodology for that escrow account, and then the
Correct.
developer has to put in their own funds to start the project, and then it has to be vetted by the land department, and then a report is issued, and on completion of each milestone, then they can augment that.
Okay.
So it's pretty simple. I don't think that can be a factor. Delays, if they occur, are not entirely based because of that payment plan. There can be 101 reasons for it, but payment plan can be one of them, but is not going to be a very primarily deciding factor.
Okay.
So now, are you? So if I ask you
Okay.
now a question that, let me ask you, what is now your view of a 1% payment plan? How do you now see that? Do you have more clarity on it?
I do actually, and I think I can't afford the one payment plan.
No, listen, but that, I mean, but you would aspire towards that side. At one point in time, you would say, okay, this 1% payment plan, I'm going to put down my roots. And at the time I'm going to put down my roots, this 1% payment plan is actually a step towards empowering people to enter the real estate market.
Correct. But at the same time, you need to know a lot of you need to have a lot of knowledge and know the details about it, study the payment plan, do the breakdown, and then invest.
Exactly.
But people, like in the starting, who would come and who have no idea about it, it would be very enticing to them. Oh wow, 1% payment plan, I want to buy it. Even I would be like, I want to buy it. And then once I come to know and I read the amounts, I'm like, it's okay, I don't think I can afford it. So yeah.
Thank you. I think
Thank you.
that explains it all.
Yeah, so that's all for today. See you guys in the next episode. Thank you.